Alright, the second qualifier is live, and I'm about hour late on posting it to this channel, but I'd already posted it on the subreddit and Discord, so actually a few people have already done it here. But we're not going to look at their runs because we don't want to, we don't want to give you any information. But we got some scores to beat here. So if you want to do that one, it's FabulousPipelineModels. I'll link that in the description. You got 24 hours, 23 hours at the time of this video to go for that. And really quick, I'd just like to review yesterday's qualifier. We had some really strong showings across the board. I will say I played through this one myself as well, and I don't think if I remember correctly, I would not have qualified. I think I had like a 40K score by the end of it. But anyway, definitely some strong showings here. Coming in at number 1, we got Sanguine Penguin. Let's take a look at what he ended up doing here. So he kept the deck pretty thin as far as the units go. Just 2 banner units, Shattered Shell with a major refraction, quite interesting there. And just the Lodestone Totem, and then there's also Guardian Stones. That would have, he didn't even have multi-strike on the Shattered Shell. It just goes to show if you make the deck the way you want to make it, you don't necessarily need kind of the typical multi-strike that you often see needed, but you're getting that double damage per slay. You have the double incants on both these totems, so it looked like that alone is enough to really work it with the high quality spells, low cost high quality spells that both of these clans provide here. So he had kept all the Forgone powers, had 2 invigorating solutions, 4 offering tokens. By the way, for incant, that is very strong. Preserve, so as you can see, a lot of 0 cost so far. This is sometimes a 0 cost. Steel Enhancer, just almost all 0 cost, right, until we get to Root Seeds. Then we got Wildwood Tome, which is most likely put on Shattered Shell. Sharpen, then an Ice Tornado. But that's really it, just sap them down, Shattered Shell to finish off the bosses. I'm sure everything was so sapped it wasn't really damaging his pyre. Yeah, and he held 1,000 gold at the end, took every trial. 2-turn boss rushes, then transitioned to 3-turn boss for the rest of it, and 2-turn for the final ones, but never taking a single bit of pyre damage. That's definitely worth note, right? And coming in not far behind was, by the way, Sanguine Penguin. I'm going to put a link to his Twitch. He streams very regularly, very informative, very entertaining, real good guy. Same with Sleepy Bear Jake, who I'm about to pull up here. And he had a similar build here, but went with 4 copies of these, which I think also kind of makes sense. He also went with a major refraction, but was able to snag a multi-strike. And then deck-wise, pretty similar. Few different cards here, but still the same idea, I think. Keep it low cost, incant easily. Did have the Cycle of Life on holdover, which it looks like he might have missed on one of these. I think Sanguine had an artifact that basically did this, the one that gives the 5 health. But anyway, still very, very good. Kept a lot of gold at the end as well. 1-turn boss rush on the first 2. That might have been the only difference, really, because, yeah, a 1-turn there as well. Otherwise, though, pretty much identical to Sanguine. Just the few of the 1-turns versus the 2-turns, I think, kind of made the difference there. Let's take a look at Never Nathaniel. I think everyone knows Never Nathaniel at this point. Uh, but if you don't, I'm obviously he's the original and still, current host of this tournament, and probably the most, I would say, prominent content creator, at least in the circle that I'm interested in. So I'll definitely link his if you for whatever reason don't know his. I'd get familiar with it. He's like super top notch in just everything, like quality, advice, play, entertainment value. Real good guy. Cannot recommend him enough. Um, Guard of the Unnamed. See, he did some different stuff here. He had the guard with a minor refraction. This is what I did. So I did a similar build to what he has here. Basically went with the lodestones for a bunch of sap, and then had the guard. Just a lot of defense, and then the damage with the Shattered Shell. He also found the multi-strike there. Went with and then just, keep a lot of the low-cost, easy incants. He also had all of his root seeds down to 0. I like that. I really like that. Increases your draw on top of the draw that he already had. I wonder where... So he didn't keep as many coins, but that would have only been about a 500-point difference. I wonder where... Oh, this Barbed Disciples was probably the difference maker then, because it, along with the no trial, it was a 0. There was no boss rush and damage was taken. So this is probably the big difference maker. Looks like there was some damage taken there too, but it is worth noting he was able to 3-turn and no damage the final 3 rings. So if things had gone different in the early, he might have even taken, been in contention for that top spot. But either way, he's qualified, and that's all you need to do at this point. And then our final qualifier here was really close between these, and I will say I haven't confirmed 100% that everyone can do it. I'm going to assume at least these 3 can. I'm not super familiar with Ralph Seymour Jackson. I just learned of him now, and I believe he has a Twitch as well. I couldn't find it when I searched for it, but I'm going to check with him, and when I get that, I'm going to post it as well. I think any new content creator is worth checking out, especially if they're good enough to post scores like this. So he had the Animus of Will. That's pretty good. Even though Animus of Will, granted, I have not practiced this challenge nearly as much as the contestants have, just because I'm not participating in the tournament. I've only really practiced it to make sure I know what I'm talking about for the commentary. But Animus of Will, I've noticed I've still liked Animus of Will, even though technically she doesn't actually gain anything from the double, this highly reactive double triggers of abilities. At the end of the day, it's still an Animus of Will, right? It's still a 3 striking unit that can just benefit really big from stuff. Though I will say, in this run, you never know how it's going to go, right? The lack of Razor Sharps kind of hurt her a little bit here, but there's still root seeds, there's still sharpens, so I'm sure she still put in some work, as she always does. And then kind of went the guard and unnamed and the lodestone. Very common. Everybody obviously has been taking the lodestone, because the lodestone with highly reactive is just kind of a given, right? And then similar, kept everything pretty cheap. Siren Song and Holdover, that's interesting. That would be pretty nice for preventing damage, I would say, especially if stuff is getting through. Then some big damage from that crit builder on what is that, Eternal Stone. So it would have been able to recycle in with all the discard that was probably getting played a lot. So he didn't hold too much gold at the end. That might have been some of where the score was lost. 1 turn, took a little bit of damage there, but pretty solid otherwise. 2 turn to the entire rest of the run from then on. I think really just if he was able to 3-turn a few more of these, probably would have made up some of that score. But either way, again, he's in. I'll hopefully get some confirmation that he can play or not. I assume he can, but I'll wait on confirmation to really say for sure. The reason I say I assume he can is because he did join like right after he had posted his score, so I assume he's interested in playing. So we'll be good to get some new faces in this tournament. And then also, I probably won't go through all of these, but just really quick here, Narninian only losing out by 100 points there. I'm sure he'll bring it. But we already see him at the he was the first one to complete this, so he kind of flew through it. He has the Shattered Shell, the Lodestone, Wildwood Custodian. He's the first one to use that, though I'm not sure that's. I wouldn't say that's like a bad thing, right? You get the extra draw from that, but pretty similar otherwise. What do we got here? 2-turn with damage. 3-turn. Oh, this is really where it was then. Like he would have probably been way up there if it weren't for the ring 7. So just ring 7, 48 damage taken, cut off a lot of points. But he's looking pretty strong at the current one. I'm sure Narninian. I'm pretty confident Narninian is going to be in this tournament. It would be the greatest surprise of all time to me if he didn't end up, at least if not by this next one, by the third qualifier. Because keep in mind, the first 4 qualifiers are not, they can't qualify twice, right? So it'll be supposedly less and less spots to compete with as each of these qualifiers go on. Let's take a look at Carius's too, because he was. I don't know if last I heard Carius is not going to be able to do this tournament, but I hope that he. I hope he's able to find a way, because I think he's a pretty good player that plays quite interestingly. I think people at the last tournament enjoyed seeing his play style. He did a different. He also had some differences here. He took the Awoken Hollow with a minor refraction, and then went double multi-strike Shattered Shell. That had to have been pretty powerful. And then the Lodestone. I mean, honestly, this deck looks really powerful. I wonder. No real big score. I guess just there was a lack of 3-turn boss rushes is really just the reason it probably didn't edge it past those top 4. Otherwise, though, it looks like he pretty much didn't take too much damage. A little bit of chip damage here and there, and 2-turned most of it, and 1-turned one of them. So, pretty strong. I would expect nothing less from Carius. Well, that is going to do it for this video. Again, let me go back to the one that is today's FabulousPipelineModels. So have fun with this one. It's going to be Melting Remnant and Umbra. It should be quite a fun one. Thanks for watching. I highly recommend, if you didn't, or if you did and you didn't qualify, try again. Because everyone has different play styles. Sometimes you don't know what the run's going to happen. Sometimes you just pick something that doesn't pan out. And that's how it goes. And you'll have this chance and then another chance tomorrow to try to get something that does pan out and really get you that high score. So, believe in yourself. I know you can do it. Thanks for watching. Until next time, peace.